We're just going to get started by sitting down on our cushions or blankets, whatever you have, resting the hands down onto the thighs, lifting up through the crown of the head, dropping the shoulders, just relaxing through the face and just closing the eyes for the first couple of moments. So we're just taking the next little while to settle in to the class, but also into our bodies. And becoming aware of the breath as it comes into the body and then as it leaves again. So not changing or directing or pushing it anywhere, but just seeing what's going on. And also just taking a little note of how it feels to be sitting at the moment. Are there any areas of tension? Does it feel comfortable or a little uncomfortable? And we start to deepen the breath now. So we're going to inhale right down into the belly. And then exhale again through the nose. And as you do that, just allowing the belly to be drawn gently backwards. So you're inhaling, fill the belly. Exhaling, drawing gently back. Inhale, fill the belly. A little pause at the end of that inhale and then exhaling, drawing the belly button back in until all the air has left your lungs. Inhaling. Exhaling. And just continue now with your own pace as you inhale and exhale. Let's do 3 more rounds of breath. you finish the third and final round of that breath, just coming back to your own natural inhale and exhale. Let's keep the eyes closed now and just nod the chin towards the chest. I'm just holding here for a breath or two. Keep the length in the spine. So if you find you've kind of rolled down into the base of your spine, just pick everything up, but keep the chin gently nodding towards the chest, just opening up the back of the neck. And then moving the chin up towards the ceiling, just opening the throat, dropping down through the shoulders. And then coming back to center, and you're going to drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder. We're holding here for a couple of breaths. So just allowing that left side of the neck to open. Keep the breath nice and soft. And then coming back to center, and then dropping the left ear down towards the left shoulder. Good, and then coming all the way back to center, just flicking open the eyes. We're going to just take a little seated twist, so that right hand is going to come to the outside of the left knee. Left hand comes behind the base of the spine on the floor, lifting up through the crown of the head, and then very gently rotating around towards that left side. You can let the chin go. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then coming back to center, and we're going to move to the opposite side. So left hand comes to the outside of the right leg, right hand comes behind, lift up through the crown of the head, and then slowly just rotating around, and let the chin go. Drop the right shoulder down if you find it's kind of crept up. Good, and then coming all the way back into center. So let's just do little rolls of the shoulder, maybe 2 or 3 in one direction, and then back in the opposite direction. So nice big circles. Lovely. We're going to work a little bit on opening the hips. So you can stay on your blankets or cushions, or you can move them. I'm just going to move back a little bit here. And we're going to cross the right shin over the left shin. So slightly different from just sitting in an easy cross-leg position. And you're flexing the feet. So you're pushing out through the heels. Sitting up through, tall through the spine, and lifting up through the crown of the head. So you'll feel it already in the hips here, even before we do anything else. So very slowly, we're going to walk the hands forward. Going as far as it feels okay. It is an intense stretch, so you do feel it. And then letting the head drop down. Keep those toes or those feet flexed, so you're pushing out through the heel. And then see if you can let go a little bit in the hips, because they tend to kind of seize up a little bit when you come into this. So see if you can just let them relax and let them open a little bit more. A nice way to encourage the hips here to let go is just to take an inhale through the nose and then a big exhale through the mouth. I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer. And then slowly, slowly, we're just going to move towards the right side. So just walking the hands over towards the right side. Keep them shoulder distance apart. And then dropping down, dropping that chin down. See if you can press that left hip a little bit more into what you're sitting on. So your cushion or on your mat. Another breath or two here. And then slowly walking the hands back to center. Take a breath in the middle. Exhale through the mouth. And then start to walk those hands over that left side. Hands shoulder distance apart. Drop the shoulders down. Tuck the chin in gently. And press down through that right hip. And keep flexing the feet. Another breath or two here. And then slowly bring it back into center. Take a breath in the middle. And then start to walk the hands back. Rolling up through the spine. And just take a moment here. Good. And then releasing the legs out in front. You can give them a little window wipe from side to side. Good. And then we're going to go again, but the opposite leg in front. So again, just flexing the feet here. Lifting up through the crown of the head and then slowly walking the hands out. Drop the chin in. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good, another breath or two here. And then walking the hands this time over towards that left side. Hands shoulder distance apart. Tuck the chin in and then just dropping down. Pressing now into that right hip. Good, another breath here. And then walking, hands back to center. Take a breath in the middle, drop the shoulders down. And then slowly walking the hands to that other side. Drop the shoulders, tuck the chin. Pressing into that left hip. Good, another breath or two here. And then walking the hands back to center. Drop the head, drop the shoulders. And start to walk the hands back towards you, lifting up through the spine. Dropping the shoulders down and then releasing those legs. That can feel nice. Good. And then coming all the way onto our hands and knees. So just moving whatever you have sitting, that you were sitting on, out of the way. And coming onto our hands and knees. So let's curl the toes under here, knees and hips in line with each other, and shoulders and wrist creases in line with each other. The third, your middle finger should be pointing forward here. So we're going to drop down now into our cow, which is where we kind of extend through the belly, shoulders away from the ears, gently looking up. And then we're going to curl into cat, like that. And we're going to do that once more. We're going to inhale, drop down. And then exhaling back into our cat. The head comes down, like the spine is in this lovely curved position. And from here, we're going to move the hips back towards the heels. Good, so you should feel that in the shoulders. And we're going to come all the way back up. We're going to keep that spine in a nice curved shape until we get back up and coming down into our cow and opening up. So let's do that again. And just connecting the movement to the breath here. So as you move from one position to the next, you either inhale or exhale. So curling up and then rolling back down towards the heels. Take a breath here. And then moving in that kind of big curved shape until you get back up onto all fours and opening up into cow. And now just moving with your own breath and your own rhythm. So as fast or as slow as you feel like you want to go with this. Let's do 2 more of those. So really just enjoying that movement. And then just coming back into a neutral position with the spine here. Take the toes together and the knees to the edge of the mat. And you're going to curl up into your cat again here. So curling up, and then moving the bum back towards the heels. Take a breath here. And then coming all the way up and back down into that cow. Rolling, moving back towards the heels. Your bum doesn't have to get down towards the heels at all. It can just be in the general direction of there. And just keeping that movement connected to the breath. And last time, we're going to hold it when we get back down there. Good. You can bring the elbows down onto the floor here if you want to. If you want to rest your head onto your hands. If it's more comfortable to have your chin sort of cupped into your hands with your elbows like this on the floor, that's totally fine. Or you can keep the arms extended with the head rested down, maybe even lifting up through the wrists. I'm going to hold it here for a little bit, so pick a position that you think you'll be able to stay in for a little while. As you breathe in, just filling those back ribs and the side ribs. And then as you breathe out, see if you can release the hips a little bit more towards those heels. Good, one more breath here. And then planting the hands down and slowly, slowly drawing them back towards you. Good, bring the knees together and bring the hands onto the thighs, just resting down through the shoulders, lifting up through the crown of the head. Just taking a moment or two here. Lovely, and we're going to move now into a low crescent lunge. So coming back up onto all fours, you're going to take the right foot forward and you're going to curl the toes under of that left foot and draw that left knee back a little bit here. So you're not on the middle of the kneecap, you're more towards the top of it. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and see if you can sink down through the hips so that we're opening up through this left hip crease and through that left thigh. Trying to get the knee and the ankle more or less in line with each other. You can move around here if it feels nice to kind of just sway from side to side. You feel the stretch moving through different parts of the leg. Lovely. And then from here, we're just going to move back so that the front leg starts to straighten. If you can keep the hands on the floor, then that's great. The toes move up towards the ceiling. If you don't think you can keep the hands on the floor, that's okay as well. We can always do it from up here. A little bit harder on the balance. This knee doesn't have to get completely straight either, so it really depends on what your flexibility is here. With those toes up towards the ceiling, try and draw the shoulders down away from the ears. See if we can walk the hands back a little bit more. Move the hips back a little bit more. And then we're going to walk forward and come back into that low lunge. So we're going to use the breath now to kind of come between both those movements. Let's inhale, move back. And then exhale, moving forward. Inhale, picking the hips up and rolling back. Exhale, moving that other direction. Let's do 2 more like this. Last one. And just holding it here. Good. And then from here, just planting that left hand down, walk the right foot out a little bit, and then just opening up through that right arm. Bring a little bit of a twist, a rotation here into the upper body. Good, and bring that hand down. Walk that foot in. And then we're going to come into a sleeping swan or pigeon with this right foot. So pigeon is where you're trying to get this shin in line as much as possible with the top of your mat. Sleeping swan, you tuck the leg in a little bit under like that and the top of the foot is on the mat. Shoulders away from the ears. You can draw that left knee back a little bit if you need to. It should be pretty back there anyway from the movements we've just done. So just holding here, drop the shoulders down. Maybe seeing you might need to get your blanket or the cushion and put it under the right hip, or you might want to have it out in front here, coming down onto the elbows. And just making sure that the left foot, the foot that's behind, you haven't kind of sickled in at the ankle, that you're right on the top of the foot. And then when you're ready, just lowering yourself down, head onto the hands, shoulders away from the ears, and just trying to settle into the breath here. One or two more breaths here. And slowly lifting the head, pressing the hands down onto the floor. Curl the toes of the back foot under and then just lift, pick that knee up and bring it forward a little bit and then scooch that right leg back. Good. So we're just on all fours here for a moment. Take the toes together, bring the knees apart and sit back down onto the heels, resting the head onto the hands. Good, another breath or two here. And then slowly just rolling up through the spine. Bring the knees together. Resting the hands down onto the thighs. Lift up through the crown of the head. And just taking a breath or two here. Good, and then we're going to come on to that opposite side. So, walking the hands back up, we're going to take the left foot forward this time. And then bringing that right knee back. Just taking a moment to get settled here. That left knee and ankle in line with each other. You can bring a little bit of movement into it here. Trying to open the chest. Shoulders moving away from the ears. Good, and then we start to move back. So those left toes up towards the ceiling. And moving back a little bit behind with the hips here if you can. So really feeling that opening into that left side here. And then walking it forward, dropping the hips down, opening the chest. So now we start to connect that movement to the breath. So we're just inhaling back. Exhaling forward. Inhaling, moving back. Exhaling forward. Inhaling back. Let's do 2 more like this. You moving with your own rhythm, your own breath. And just holding it when you get forward again. And then planting that right hand down. You can walk the left foot out a little bit here. And then opening up through that left arm. Looking up towards the ceiling, shoulders away from the ears. And then bringing the hand back down. You're going to walk that left foot over behind that left wrist for pigeon, or you're tucking it in for sleeping swan. You're bringing the knee down onto the floor. Just have a little look back at that foot behind and see if it's okay. Coming down onto the elbows, shoulders away from the ears. And then lowering down onto the hands if you can. Just settling the breath. Another breath or two here. And slowly start to lift up. Good. Curl the toes of that right foot under and then bring the knee up and then slide that left leg back. Good. And then just bringing the knees apart again. Toes together, just sitting back onto the heels, resting the head down. Good. And then rolling all the way back up. Bring the knees together. Rest the hands down onto the thighs. Drop the shoulders down. And just take a breath or two here. So we're not rushing anything today. Everything is slowly, slowly. We're going to come forward now onto our hands and knees. We're going to get ready to come into down dog. So knees are hip distance apart. Curl the toes under. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Spread the fingers really wide here. Draw the low belly in and then pressing up with the hips. You can keep a nice bend in the knees here. Shoulder blades moving down the back. Just nod the head yes and no a couple of times. And then maybe bring the left heel down towards the floor, straightening that left leg, and then swapping over to that right side. Just doing that a few more times. And then straightening both legs, pressing out through the backs of the thighs, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. At any time, if you need to come down onto your hands and knees, then do that. Pressing the palms of the hands into the floor, so you have like suction cups onto the palms of your hands, which are gripping the floor, but also pressing the floor away. Good. One more breath here, and then bringing those knees back down onto the floor. You're going to bring that right leg forward. And we're going to lift all the way up. Good. Hope everybody's okay. Brilliant. From here, interlace the fingers and press the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. You may need to bend the elbows here to get, before you can sort of straighten them. So even maybe bend them a few times, and then pressing up the shoulders can be tight. Good, and then releasing the hands back down. Take the hands to the hips here. Curl the toes under of that back foot. Creep the right foot forward a little bit here. Good, so you can stay here, or if you want to try and lift that back knee off the floor, you're going to press up now. Keep the hips low. Good, you're trying to get the hips level here, so you're not kind of rotating around towards that left side. Pressing out through the heel of that left foot if the knee's lifted. Good, 1 or 2 more breaths here, well done. Relax the shoulders. Good, and then you're going to bring the hands down to the floor. Bring that knee down. Scooch that right leg back and come back up into your downward facing dog. Good, 1 more breath here. Not the head, yes and no, just really releasing through the shoulders as you do that. And then bringing those knees back down. Coming forward with that left knee. Maybe just bringing that right knee back a touch. Pressing the floor away, coming all the way up. Dropping the shoulders. Good. Bring the hands onto the hips and either staying here or curling the toes under of that right foot and lifting and pressing up. Pressing out through that right heel. Good. Another couple of breaths here, opening the chest, releasing the shoulder blades down the back. Brilliant. Bring the hands down to the floor. Knee comes down. Left leg comes back. And then we're moving back into another downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling the knees. Lovely, and then we're going to walk the hands towards the feet, or the feet towards the hands, nice and slow. A big bend in the knees, let the head go. The arms are loose and free, and we're going to roll up through the spine, very slowly. Until the head, the neck, and the shoulders slot into place. Good. So, and just turning sideways now on the mat, we're going to bring the feet nice and wide. Good. From here, you're going to turn the right toes out towards the top of the mat. And we're going to bend into that front knee. So we're going to come into our warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So you're bending into that front knee. From here, just take the hands to the middle of the chest and bring the elbows up, out nice and wide, and draw the elbows back so you're nice and open through the chest, and then release the hands so that they're in line with the shoulders, and then looking out over those front fingertips. Lifting up from the inner arch of that back foot so you can press into the baby toe side of that back foot. Opening the chest, draw the low belly in. Good, drop the hands, press the floor away, straighten that front leg and turn the toes. Good, and do the same with the other side, so those left toes. We're lining up the heel and the arch, or the heel and the heel of the front and back foot, bending into that front knee. Just watching that the knee doesn't turn in, so you've got a nice straight line here from that inner groin out to the knee. Hands come onto the chest, opening, moving the elbows back, and then releasing the arms and looking out over those front fingertips. Draw the low belly in. See if we can draw the body, the torso back, center over the hips. Sometimes what happens is when you bring the arms up, you kind of tend to follow them a little bit. So make sure everything is centered. Good, another breath or two here. Drop the hands down, straighten that front leg and turn both the toes out. So we're going to get ready now to come into a forward fold. If you know that when you come into a forward fold that your hands don't reach the ground, grab your blankets or your cushions or whatever you need and put it in front so it's there when you get there. Open up, lift up through the chest, hands onto the hips, draw the elbows back. Good. And really kind of wake those legs up by drawing the kneecaps up so everything is switched on in the legs. And then we're going to fold forward with a nice straight spine. So we're not collapsing through that low back. Good. Everything nice and slow. No rush to get here. Good. And then you're bringing the hands down onto the floor, shoulder distance apart. Let's have a little look at the feet here and make sure that they're not pointing away from you. Good. This might be enough of a stretch. That's totally fine. If you want to go a little bit further, you can start to walk the hands back in towards the body. Keep them shoulder distance apart. Keep the elbows pointing back. And allow the head to drop down. Keep the weight evenly between the toes and the heels so you're not dropping the hips back behind you or coming too far forward. Shoulders away from the ears. Another breath or two here. Well done, everybody. And then slowly walking the hands back underneath the shoulders. Just come right up onto the fingertips. Heel toe the feet in a couple of times. Bring the hands onto the hips. Press the floor away and come all the way back up to standing. And then bring those feet in. Good. Just take a moment here in Tadasana. So Tadasana with the feet hip distance apart, fingertips reaching down towards the floor, crown of the head lifting up, shoulder blades moving down the back. You draw the belly button gently in. So standing pose or mountain pose is an active pose. Good, another breath or two here. And then we're going to come to the top of the mat. We're going to roll down through the body. So again, feet hip distance apart, fingertips down towards the floor. Inhale now, nod the chin towards the chest. And as you exhale, I want you just to bend the knees slightly and let the arms go, let the head go, let the shoulders go. You're just going to roll down through the spine, rolling, 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 until the hands hit the floor. And then just maybe swinging that upper body a little bit here, just to make sure everything is nice and loose. You can start to get a bit bigger with the circles as they're kind of, the fingertips are drawing on the floor. And then start to make them smaller. And then coming all the way back to just that forward fold. Brilliant. Bring the hands down onto the floor. Step back with the left foot, step back with the right foot. So we're in plank here. You may need to drop the knees down, that's totally fine as well. You're pushing out through the heels, shoulder blades moving back. Good, crown of the head moving forward, draw the low belly in. Brilliant, then we're all going to bring our knees down onto the floor. Tuck the elbows in, we're going to lower all the way down onto our bellies, nice and slow. So just flattening the feet onto the floor. The feet are hip distance apart. And we're going to bring the hands back so that they're underneath the shoulders. Draw the elbows in. We're going to work into a little baby cobra here. So pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, draw the low belly in, lift and open the chest. The tailbone moving down towards the floor. Shoulder blades moving down the back. And then releasing down. So we'll do that twice more. I want you to inhale, open up. And then exhale. Rolling down, legs nice and active. Once more, inhale, open up. And then exhale, lowering all the way down. Let's move the hands back now. So the thumbs are on the floor, the palms of the hands are facing in. Lift the shoulders up and back and roll the shoulder blades down the spine. And as you do that, you'll notice that the chest naturally lifts. So we're already in a back extension here. We're not doing very much. Good. Oh, we are, but it doesn't take much to get into one. Again, just make sure that the back of the neck is in line with the spine here. Good. And then from here, we're going to lift the arms up. And see if we can lift the chest up a little bit more. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit. Maybe lifting up a little bit more. Again, you're drawing that lower belly in. You're looking down towards the floor. Good, another breath or two here. Let's see if we can interlace the fingers now behind. And again, opening the chest. One or two more breaths here. And then we're going to release everything down, bringing one cheek down onto the floor, releasing the shoulders. And then just bringing the head to the other side, just for another breath. Good. And then bringing the gaze back into center. Bring the hands alongside the ribs or alongside the chest now. Draw the elbows in. Draw the low belly in. And then just pressing up onto your hands and knees. And then all the way back into a child's pose. Just resting the head onto the hands. Good. And then rolling all the way back up to a seated position. The knees are together. You're resting your hands down onto your thighs, lifting up through the crown of the head. Just close the eyes now for a few moments here. Good. Good. Then bring the hands down onto the floor and find the floor with your bum and get those legs out in front. So just coming all the way to the end of the mat. Have your cushion close by. You may want it now in a moment or two. So holding on to the backs of the legs, we're going to roll down nice and slowly onto the floor until the head is down. Good. Shoulders away from the ears. Let's draw the feet in a little bit here, and we're just going to work into a very simple twist on the floor. So the feet together, the knees together, lift the hips up off the floor and shift them over to the left side here a little, and then bring the knees down towards the right. Good. And then you're going to bring the arms out in line with the shoulders or a little bit below. And then if it feels okay and comfortable, you can look over that left side. Good. Another breath or two here. Bring the head back into center, and then bring the knees back into center and recenter the hips. Just take a moment here. And then lifting the hips up, just shift them over to the right side, drop the knees down. And then looking out over those right fingertips. Good. Bring the head back to center. Bring the knees back. Center the hips again. Bring your hands onto your belly. Just take a breath here. I'm just bringing the soles of the feet together. We're going to bring the knees out to the side. So Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined angle pose. But if you want, you can grab your cushions now, maybe under your head if you feel like your chest is lifting up off the floor. If it's not comfortable to have the head just on the floor without a support underneath it, go ahead and do that. I'm going to keep my hands on my belly. You can bring your hands onto the inner thighs if you like. You can close your eyes. Good. So we're just gonna get ready now and come into our last pose, which is the resting pose. And figuring out what you need to be as comfortable as you possibly can here. So we'll just bring the hands to the outside of the thighs, bring the knees together. Maybe getting your blankets and putting them over you or under your head. I'm going to use mine under my knees. Allowing the feet to roll out to the side, turn the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling, and you're just giving a little bit of space between your body and your arms. Making sure those shoulders are away from the ears. You can close the eyes. So relaxing now through the jaw. Just allowing the tongue to float to the roof of the mouth. The small parting of the lips. Cheeks are soft. The area between the eyebrows is soft. Forehead relaxed. Just allowing the front body to melt into the back body. And letting the back body melt away. Letting the front part of your brain, the thinking, planning part, just melt away. Slowly starting to bring your awareness back to the room. Back to your body. Back to your breath. Let's bring a little bit of movement into the fingertips, into the toes. Maybe reaching the hands behind and stretching the feet away. Big body stretch. And then slowly just bringing the knees in over your belly. Just giving yourself a little hug. Be rolling on that low back. And then really, in your own time, and very gently, just rolling onto your right side, resting your head onto your hands. Keeping the eyes closed here. We're just taking this very last moment to ourselves. And then slowly coming back up to a seated position. Very gently, no rush. Finding your cushions or blankets to sit on. Just an easy cross-leg position. Resting the hands down onto the thighs, lift up through the crown of the head. Let's just close the eyes for the last moment or two and connect back with the breath again. And maybe noticing the quality of the breath and the condition of your body. How does it feel compared to the start of the class? Good. Opening the eyes. Hands in front of your heart if you wish. A little bow forward to you. Thank you for coming. Namaste. Good work, everybody. Happy Saturday.